Hello, I am Sam. Welcome to my channel. The nation stands at a crossroads, where the hum of industry and the quiet rhythm of daily life meet in a delicate balance, and yet in moments of uncertainty the gears of commerce slow. The factories echo with silence, and the offices, once alive with purpose, now sit empty. The roads are less crowded, the airports less bustling, and the heartbeat of 1,000 cities begins to falter. Every shutdown carries with it an invisible weight, a burden that stretches far beyond the walls of government buildings and the whispers of politicians. It reaches deep into the lives of ordinary Americans whose livelihoods are tethered to a fragile economic rhythm. The shutdown is more than a political stalemate. It is a force that ripples through the arteries of the economy, touching every sector, every community, and every family in ways that cannot be measured by numbers alone. The cost to the U.S. economy is vast, and yet behind every figure lies a story. Behind every lost billion lies a human face, a worker whose paycheck is delayed, a business that cannot meet its obligations, a child whose dreams depend on a parent's ability to provide for them. The GDP, which reflects the totality of goods and services produced in the country, begins to waver, and the loss of momentum can have cascading effects that echo for months, even years, beyond the immediate pause. When government employees are furloughed, they are not just numbers on a spreadsheet. They are mothers and fathers, sons and daughters whose stability is shaken and whose spending power diminishes. This reduction in consumer demand affects local businesses, cafes, restaurants, retail stores, and service providers whose own survival depends on the flow of dollars through the economy. The uncertainty breeds hesitation, and hesitation slows investment as companies delay projects and expansion plans, fearing the unpredictability of a gridlocked government. The ripple spreads to contractors and suppliers whose work is intertwined with federal projects, and soon what was a contained disruption becomes a wave that washes over multiple sectors. The tourism industry is among the first to feel the sting as national parks close their gates and landmarks once teeming with visitors fall silent. The guides, the vendors, the small towns that thrive on seasonal tourism face sudden scarcity of income, and the lost revenue accumulates day by day. The private sector feels the chill as well. Businesses reliant on government contracts face delays. Payments are postponed, hiring freezes take root, and the economy's engine coughs under the weight of stalled projects. Every day of shutdown compounds the loss, and economists calculate the numbers in billions, reflecting the contraction in growth that could have been achieved if the machinery of government and commerce had continued to operate smoothly. Yet beyond the statistics lies the intangible cost, the erosion of confidence in institutions, the stress on families and communities, the subtle but profound impact on the collective psyche of a nation. When trust in stability falters, people spend less, they save more, they postpone plans for homes, for education, for innovation, and this collective conservatism, while rational in the short term, creates a drag on growth that feeds back into the economy. The markets respond with caution. Stock prices wobble, investor sentiment dims, and even international confidence in the U.S. economy is tested as the shutdown signals unpredictability in the world's largest economy. The flow of international trade slows. Contracts are renegotiated. Supply chains are disrupted, and their reputation of reliability that anchors the country's economic relationships faces strain. The shutdown affects sectors in ways that are both direct and subtle. The aerospace industry, for example, sees delays in approvals and funding. The technology sector waits for regulatory guidance. Research projects are stalled, and innovation slows. The very engines that drive competitiveness are idled, and yet, while the cost is immense, there is an even deeper story to be told about resilience and adaptation. Communities adjust, workers find temporary solutions, families stretch resources, and small businesses pivot to survive. The human spirit does not stand idle even as the machinery falters, yet the price paid is real. The economy loses the equivalent of months of growth. The projections for the fiscal year are recalibrated, and the cumulative effect on the national debt begins to grow. Every missed opportunity compounds the burden for the future, and the long-term effects are subtle yet significant. Reduced income for families leads to lower consumer spending. Lower spending leads to slower business growth. Slower growth affects employment opportunities, and the cycle feeds itself. The social fabric experiences strain as unemployment, insurance, and social services are stretched thin. The emotional toll manifests in stress, anxiety, and uncertainty that touches every corner of the nation. The shutdown also highlights inequalities that exist within the economy. Those in precarious employment situations are most vulnerable. Hourly workers, contractors, and low-income families experience the brunt of the disruption, while those with savings and security can weather the storm more easily. The divergence in experience exposes the fragility of the social contract and reminds us that the economic cost is not merely a statistic. It is a lived experience for millions of Americans. As the days stretch into weeks and the weeks into a month, the cumulative effect on GDP becomes more visible. The sectors that had been humming with productivity slow their output. The services that rely on steady demand face contractions. The investment that drives future growth is postponed, and the potential for innovation is delayed. Every hour of shutdown represents lost opportunity, lost momentum, lost potential that could have fueled the nation's progress. Yet amid the darkness there are lessons to be learned about the interconnectivity of systems, the importance of planning, the value of trust, and the human capacity to adapt. Governments and policymakers are reminded that the decisions made in the corridors of power have tangible consequences in the lives of everyday citizens and the smooth operation of the economy. Every shutdown is a mirror reflecting the vulnerabilities of an intricate system that binds millions together in a shared pursuit of prosperity and stability. The cost to GDP is measured in billions, yet the emotional and social costs ripple further. They reach into the hearts of families and communities. They shape expectations and influence decisions long after the government doors reopen. The shutdown is a story of pause, a story of inertia, a story of what is lost when momentum is interrupted, and yet it is also a story of resilience, the ability of individuals and businesses to endure, to adjust, to find new pathways to survive and even to thrive under constraints. The economy is not a cold calculation. It is a living system composed of people, dreams, ambitions, efforts, and sweat. Every delay, every lost paycheck, every postponed contract is a real event in the tapestry of national life, and the magnitude of the shutdown reminds us how finely balanced the system is, how fragile growth can be, how dependent prosperity is on continuity and trust. As the nation emerges from the shutdown, the work of recovery begins both in fiscal terms and in human terms. Policies are reconsidered, budgets reassessed, projects restarted. Yet the invisible scars remain. Confidence takes time to rebuild, routines must be re-established, and the rhythm of everyday life slowly returns to its previous pace. The cost to GDP in billions is a stark reminder of what can happen when the system pauses. Yet beyond the numbers lies a call to reflection, a call to appreciate the delicate web that holds the economy together and the human dimension that gives it meaning. The economy is more than numbers, more than reports, more than quarterly forecasts. It is the sum of every effort, every hour worked, every innovation pursued, every dream invested, and every setback endured. The shutdown exposes vulnerabilities, yet also illuminates strengths, the resilience of people, the adaptability of businesses, the interconnectedness of sectors, the delicate balance of supply and demand, and the enduring power of human effort to restore and rebuild. The momentum that fuels growth when measured in billions. The cost is clear when Measured in human experience, the story is profound. Families adapt communities. Support each other, businesses adjust workers. Persevere, and yet the lesson remains that stability, continuity, and trust are the bedrock of economic prosperity. The shutdown is a pause that reverberates through the economy, leaving visible and invisible marks, yet it is also a reminder that the system depends on people, their decisions, their actions, and their resilience, that growth is not automatic, it is nurtured through consistent effort, and that the human spirit is capable of navigating the turbulence of uncertainty with courage and determination. The nation looks forward to reopening not just the offices and their buildings, but to restoring confidence, reinvigorating projects, renewing contracts, and reigniting the momentum that drives innovation and productivity. The GDP numbers will eventually reflect recovery, yet the emotional journey of those affected lingers. The pause serves as a mirror of both vulnerability and strength, a testament to their intricate weave of human effort, policy, and economic systems. The shutdown reminds us that prosperity is a shared endeavor that depends on trust, cooperation, and continuity. It reminds us that the cost is more than economic, it is emotional, social, and human, and that the recovery is a journey as much about people as about policy. The billions in lost GDP are a measure of pause, yet the stories behind them reveal endurance, adaptability, and the relentless pursuit of progress that defines a nation. And the shutdown ends, yet its lessons endure, a call to value the delicate machinery of governance and the human stories that give life to the economy, a reminder that every hour of activity matters, every effort counts, every life touched contributes to the vitality of a nation, and that even in moments of pause, the human spirit continues to seek growth, connection, and renewal. The economy moves forward because people persist, communities rebuild, businesses adapt, and the country learns that the cost of inaction is steep, yet the capacity for recovery is profound. And as the nation regains its rhythm, the lessons of the shutdown echo in the decisions made, the policies crafted, the innovations pursued, and in the resilience of every citizen who lives through the pause and continues to strive to build a stronger, more stable future. The GDP may have lost billions, yet the enduring strength of the human spirit ensures that growth will return, that communities will thrive, and that the nation will emerge wiser from the silence that they shutdown imposed, a testament to both vulnerability and resilience, a cinematic journey through loss, reflection, and renewal, a story of the economy and the people who give it life.